this is me Max, or the Technomancer, and today I am doing a tutorial on Agricraft. Now what makes this different from Mod Spotlight is my job in this video is not to make you want to use Agricraft. I'm guessing that at this point, I'm assuming that you already seen the tutorial, the Spotlight, you want to do it, but you have no idea how. You say, oh my god, this is so amazing looking, just how do I use it? And that's where I come in. So this is a tutorial. It's not going to teach you absolutely everything, but it's going to teach you an awful lot about Agricraft. Now, to help teach this, I'm using the Infinity Evolved Hard Expert Mode mod pack, mod list in the description, and we are going to walk through how to get started in Agricraft, how it works, the basics, and I would like to point out that there are configs to change how breeding works in this, and increasing stats and so on. And that in Infinity Evolved, they are on pretty much their hardest settings. So, you will understand how it works in a worst case scenario, and from that you can probably work out on your own how it works in a better case scenario. So, without further ado, let's begin. Everything, more or less, we need is in this chest. Now, let's start with the beginnings of Agricraft. You're going to need some crop sticks, which are pretty cheap. You just 4 sticks and you get 4 of these. And, ooh, I forgot a very, important block, the analyzer, if I can spell. Hold on, I'll get it just a moment. Sorry, there's an A. Seed analyzer. And I'm not going to show you all the crafting recipes, only the interesting ones. But this is pretty cheap. You just make one, and this is it. And you'll notice there's a little book slot here, and you're going to need an agricultural journal. This journal, however, is optional. It's not necessary. You can totally use this thing without the journal, and I'll show you what the journal does in a moment. So you've got your crops, you've got your analyzer, you might have a journal if you feel you need it, you might not. And what else should you have? Well, if you have Whale installed, you're pretty much good to begin. If you don't, you're going to need a magnifying glass. So we're going to grab one of those, even though I have it installed. And you're probably going to want a wooden hand rake, and you're going to maybe want some seeds. So let's just take a watering can as well, and a carrot and some potato seeds, and I'll show you, and some bone meal. And I'll show you why in a bit. So first off, you're going to want to scan these seeds. Just for record keeping. So let's scan a potato seed. Just throw it in, give it a moment. Okay, growth, gain, strength, all of which are 1. That is to be expected. Now the way it works is, those 3 stats can be bred to improve those stats. And I'm going to scan another seed. Now, growth is basically how fast will this seed grow into a plant. Gain is how many plants or profits are you going to get from said plant when you harvest it. And resistance is about, and strength rather, is about weeds. How resistant is to weeds and trampling. And the weeds I'll explain in a bit. But for now, let's just say it's important later, in a bit. And these cap out at 10, and all seeds when you first get them are going to be exactly 1, 1, 1. Okay? That's what we call it when all stats are 1, 1, 1, 1. So the best would be 10, 10, 10. So how do you use this? Well, you can craft these seeds just from their normal plants, but let's get started. So to plant things, you're going to need to place a crop stick on farmland. Then you're going to want to put some seeds in it. There, simple. And we can watering can this, or we can bone meal it. Now it's bone meal. We got some potato seeds. They're mature. And if we use a magnifying glass, it'll tell us the stats. Now, if we had not scanned it, it would not tell us the stats. But Whale, as you can see at the top of my screen, is telling me the stats because I have scanned it. Now, if we simply right-click, it doesn't get removed. It just puts it back to stage 1 and gives me a potato. Now, we got rather unlucky with a poisonous potato. That's a really low chance, actually. But your normal potato. And this is the sort of thing you can expect. And it's going to take a while to grow. It's not the fastest thing in the world. And for later reasons, I'm going to plant another potato seed here. And I'm going to plant a couple carrot seeds here. And they're just going to act as you'd expect, pretty much. They're just going to grow. Now, there's 2 main things I need to explain now. Well, 3 actually. Weeds, crossbreeding, and stats. Better. Let's start with weeds. If I leave this crop here, it's empty. There is a punishment for this. If we wait a bit of time, a weed will appear. Now, I happen to know that a watering can will speed up the occurrence of a weed. Now, we have a weed here. Now, what does this do? Well, after a while, this weed is going to start replacing our plants with weeds, which are pretty much useless. And that's not good. You're going to lose your valuable seeds. So I can break this. Okay. And if we just... watering can is useful because it also speeds up crossbreeding, which I'll show in a moment. So let's have some weeds. Now, if you use your hand rake... Oops, sorry. I meant to right-click. Sorry about that. Let's use the watering can again. Hold on. Come on, you're embarrassing me. There we go. We right-click this time. It just disappears without breaking the crop stick. Pretty much as you'd expect. Now, that's basically weeds. They replace your things, and the higher a plant's strength stat is, the more resistant they'll be to weeds. Now, that'll also occur on cross crops. Now, a cross crop is obtained by taking crop sticks and right-clicking them again with crop sticks. You can right-click it to remove the stick. And these cross crops are important in a bit. Okay? So this is the very basics. The very, very, very basics. You're not doing much interesting right now. What will make it interesting is let's start talking about increasing your stats. Now, to do this, you're going to need to breed crops. And to do this, you're going to need mature crops. Now, if I have, let's say, some potato seeds growing here, and they're fully grown, if I put a cross crop next to it and wait, after a while, either this will become a weed, in which case you have to fix that, or this will become potato. So your seeds can spread. So that is now I can guarantee you right now that is a 1-1-1 potato. However, I'm in creative mode. Probably shouldn't do that. Okay. I can guarantee you that anything that spreads there will be a 1-1-1. Always. Because there's only one parent. Now, in order to get an improvement to the stats, which is what we're looking for at C111, is you're going to need at least 2 parents. Preferably, and with the sort of configs we have on Infinity Evolved, you're going to want those 2 plants to be the exact same species, otherwise it's harder to increase the stats. Now I'm using the watering can, and okay, we've got some potato seeds there. Now, what happens if we scan these? 1, 2, 2. So you'll notice we have now got an upgrade. Now, the way it determines the stats of the child when you have multiple is it basically averages out each of the 3 stats, and then it has a chance to increase one of them. Or 2, or even 3 by 1 point. So that means if we want to continue to upgrade, we're going to need to replace one of these parents with the improved seed. Grow that up, and this. Now what I'm doing right now is not the most efficient way to breed these guys. Okay, there is a way that is twice as fast, and speed is more important when you don't have a watering can, which is to do it that way. This is a pretty good method, just 2x2 squares like this, and whenever you get an improved seed, you replace one of the lower tier parent with it. Now I'm going to give you a little tip about how to do this. Let's say I didn't have this 2-2-2 seed. Let's pretend I never got that. I have my 2-3-3 seed. Which one am I going to want to replace? Oop. Give me that back. Well, I could replace the 1-2-2, or I could replace the 1-1-1. You're going to want to replace the worst parent. So we'll replace the 1-1-1. And you just keep breeding up. That is the basic idea. I'm not going to show you the whole process to 10-10-10. But I can tell you that with a watering can, it's actually not too long if you get lucky enough. Let me just get these so we don't get a weed. Okay, so that's the basic idea of improving stats. And every time you create a new species, the stats will get divided by, I believe, 2. Now, I'll demonstrate new species right now. The way crossbreeding works is if we look at something like, let's say we didn't have any pumpkins. We've never found a pumpkin. We've been exploring for years. Yes, we've had this Minecraft world for years, and we haven't found a single pumpkin. And we want to grow pumpkins. What are we going to do? Well, we can create those. And it's actually not too hard. So let's look at pumpkin seeds, which I picked as the example. Let's look at a recipe. Just press R. Crop mutation. Potato and carrot. Now are you seeing why I picked those 2 plants to start out with, potato and carrot? So let's take this and use carrot seeds and potato seeds. Now, as I'm sure you're guessing right now, the way this works is you need to crossbreed 2 plants of different species that form a correct combination. By the way, the higher the growth stat, the faster a plant will crossbreed. As we can see from Whale, this is carrot seeds, and in fact from the magnifying glass as well. We don't want that. We want pumpkin. It's not a guaranteed chance. Quite frankly, if you don't have Whale installed, you're supposed to just guess wildly at what these combinations are until you get them. But, not Whale, NEI. But, luckily, and most likely used well, have NEI. So as you can see, we're not getting really lucky here. Potato and carrot, we're not getting a pumpkin. And we really should be. Now, does that mean we're doing anything wrong? No, it does not. It could just mean that you're unlucky, because like I said, it's not a guaranteed chance. In fact, it's not even a very high chance. So I'll be right back when when I've gotten it. Here we go, I just got some pumpkin. Now, it's a 20% chance with these current configs, and I think that's also by default, to get a crossbreed if you have a valid combination. So let's scan these, and it's most likely going to be a 1-1-1. Because not only were both parents 1-1-1, but when you create a new species, not only do the stats not increase farther, but in fact, they get divided by 2. Now, the lower bound is 1-1-1, so they couldn't go any further down, but still, which means you have to keep breeding crops up to that amazing 10-10-10. And in a bit, I'll show you, towards the end maybe, what a 10-10-10 field is capable of, which is quite a lot. I'm just going to show you a few other useful tips right now. If I, for example, want to move this to here without having to break it and wait for it to grow, right-click with a gardening trowel. It's store the potato seeds and then put it here. It's sort of like a dolly for seeds. Very nice. So you can take, and I should probably mention that things like the pumpkin seed, by the way, only take up a single block now, and look at that amazing 3D. It's nice. He's nice. Okay. Now I want to talk about soil types. If I look at sugarcane seeds, and you can't plant sugarcane in this, you have to get the seeds, which you have to crossbreed, sadly. If I take this, I can't plant this here. Why do you think that is? Because sugarcane, if, for example, we look here, needs sand, and it wasn't planted on sand. Now that is actually a very powerful, it's a useful thing to remember, is that, okay, so there we go. Now remember, weeds can grow on any soil type. That's an important thing to remember. So why is it, now it's actually useful that sugarcane can grow on sand and not dirt. And why is that? Well, let's say I've got the 2 parents here and here, and I'm trying to get my first sugarcane. This is a cross crop. I won't have to break and replace those 2 parents that managed to cross over to the sugarcane spot instead of making a sugarcane, because they won't appear. Only sugarcane can. Other things that need sand are things like cactus. Netherwort needs soul sand, and so on. All that sort of thing. You can just press R on a seed to see what soil it needs. Also, netherwort needs darkness. I just thought I should mention because a lot of people get confused by that. Okay. So now we've covered a lot. However, there's still the sprinkler system. And I kind of think it would be cool if we could have sprinklers that go upwards and you have like underground pipes, but no, that's not how it works. This might actually be a little cooler. So let me explain the sprinklers if I just get some of this out of my inventory. You will need 3 components: the actual sprinkler, the actual irrigation channel, and an actual water tank. And you can make these out of any type of wood plank. It'll actually change the texture, but I'm just going to use these oak wood ones for now. So these are pretty simple to use. Also, I forgot I don't need this here. You just put a water tank somewhere, and they are a multi-block, so they get bigger capacities. You build them up like so. So we can make a big, huge, wide one, or we can make it tall, or you get the idea. Surely. And the capacity goes up. And then we're going to want a little wooden irrigation channels coming out the side. And we could have like a nice network of these. These are like pipes, and they can't go up, and they can't go down. So, sorry about that. They just really don't. And then you're going to want to put a sprinkler on the bottom of one of these. Okay, so this runs off of water. So, let's get a water bucket. And of course, there's 30 bazillion pages. Okay. Let's get a water bucket. And we need to fill up the tank. So just pour some water in here. And this will hold a lot. And after a moment, water should start flowing. Oh, no, wait. See, I forgot to mention. See how there's a water level inside that tank? And see how that pipe isn't quite at the bottom? It will actually only start going through the pipe once it's up to that water level. See? Very interesting. However, this does have downsides, and you'll notice like the water in the pipes, it slopes gently. It's very clever, nice. And this goes to the sprinkler, which begins to spin around and squirt water in a very large area. Now, before we go any farther, I just want to release a warning to the public. These irrigation channels are rather laggy considering how cheap and how simple they seem to be. They are rather laggy once you get a large number of them due to that complicated render of the water with the angling and so on, and the whole balance out the water level. And these tanks are also laggy, very much so. So that's just a warning, so try not to use too many of these. Like, I'd actually recommend a setup more like this, where the very minimum of each, and then you put water in here. So this is going to consume water, so you can pipe water into this, and rain will also collect into this. So you could have so I'm over here using an aqueous accumulator. That's the thing from thermal expansion, which will make water infinitely, and just put it into the tank. Okay, so the sprinkler's spinning. What is this doing? Well, it makes most sense when we're doing this on farmland. Not only will it hydrate the soil, so you don't need a water source block, right? It'll also make crops grow faster than just plain hydrated soil. Let's demonstrate this. It's not like an oh my god, it's the fastest thing ever speed, but it is a slight difference. And when you have a large field all sprinkled, it will make a noticeable difference. So this is growing slightly faster. Okay. That is basically sprinklers in a nutshell. That really is. Now, just a moment, and I'll show you what a field of 10-10-10 seeds can do. Okay, this is a field of 10-10-10 potato seeds. Or potatoes. And I know they're 10-10-10 because I just had to breed them, because there is no tool for spawning in 10-10-10 seeds. However, with a reinforced watering can and creative mode, it really doesn't take that long and is not too difficult. So this is a 7x7 field of potatoes. 10-10-10, under a sprinkler. Let's see what happens when we harvest all of these. I really should have spawned in a scythe for this. Would have sped it up, but okay. And let's see what our results are. From that one harvest, we have almost 3 stacks of potatoes and 14 poisonous potatoes. Now, let's just look at these seeds. Look at the growth stage percentage. Look how fast they are growing. That is now already at 42%. This one I've been staring at right here. It will take almost no time for this field to fully regrow. Also, because they are 10-10-10s, weeds will have quite a lot of trouble destroying them. However, they are not invulnerable, just very resistant. So, if I were to go over here to grab, if I were to simply walk over to this village and walk back, I'm going to bet that by the time I get back, it will be fully grown. And this village does have something I wanted to show you, which is, while they're just doing that, a good example of what weeds do. And this village actually has 2 things I want to show you. First off, this is an Agricraft World Gen thing. It is a botanical garden thing, and it'll have all sorts of random Agricraft crops that can generate, it just generates them, gets it from the config. And you'll see there's a few left. However, it also generates with a couple empty crops. And you'll see that during the time I have done this video, it has already been almost completely overwhelmed by weeds. Whatever these crops were, we will never know, due to the weeds that have infected them. And if you do actually manage to get any seeds from these, because you haven't had weeds, their stats will probably be anything. All the stats will probably be somewhere from 1 to 5. But that can be a source of, for example, cactus seeds if you want. Now, let's come over here, and okay, I lose the bet, they haven't grown. But you can see how quickly they are growing. They are very quickly regrowing. This one's already regrown and giving us lots of potatoes. They're all regrowing now. And this is just an incredibly effective way of farming. And now, just to finish off the episode, I'm going to show you the thing I promised to show you, which was the journal. So if you make a journal, and this will take very little time, and stick it in this slot, then whenever you scan a seed, let's say, for example, I'm going to scan a sugarcane seed, and this is going to go into the journal, Discovered Seeds 1. And if I click this button, I can actually read the journal without taking it out. Introduction, sugarcane seeds, tier 1. Fruits, what it gives you in other words, stages, discover mutations. So as you discover mutations for it, they will appear in the book. Basically, this is for people who don't have any AI installed. Otherwise, it's really not important. Okay, well, I'm getting the episode here. Remember, the mod list, in case you want to know exactly what mods are in this mod pack, is in the description. The mod is Agricraft. I'm putting a link to the forum post in the description. And this is, I hope, a good tutorial. And so, goodbye!